Also got the lowering sun to contend with on the top part of the Brands Hatch circuit. Got David Baldwin there in his Clio 2. Then you've got the Steve Gassar Honda Civic that we've seen race here in the South Eastern Centre categories in the past. Also you've got the Honda Civic a bit further back that was originally developed for the Civic Cup. Tony Markham in that. His daughter Ella was going to race in the Civic Cup a few seasons ago. For whatever reason that didn't happen, but good to see that Tony is here and out in that car. Of course the Civic Cup are very much a feature of the British Racing Sports Car Club programmes nowadays, with big grids and exciting racing. So the cars all coming into place. A few cars with their headlights on, giving it a good look there below us on the grid. Watch out for Clive Haynes with very potent Mazda RX8 as he works his way through the order with Ash Bruneau in his Clio, and David Clark was quick in qualifying too in that Renault 5. The 5-second board is being prepared by our start line marshal. It's a 15-minute race for the Track Attack Race Club, their second race of the season. Is it going to be Clio or is it going to be Subaru that leads the way into Paddock Hill Bend on lap 1? Away they go, and it's a great start from Robbie Durant, so it's going to be Subaru that leads. But what about Nathan Heathcote? He's just won a race, they've refueled the car, his Mazda MX-5, and he's challenging the Clios at this point. Remember, he started 8th on the grid and he's now 4th. Behind those two Clios are Tony Hunter and Nick Gwinnett. It looks like a very smoky Mazda RX8 heading into Paddock Hill Bend, so hopefully that car is okay. That smoke seems to have disappeared now, but Tony Hunter trying to get on with this, trying to get himself ahead of Robbie Durant as quick as possible and make a gap between himself and his fellow Clio racer Nick Gwinnett. But Nathan Heathcote proving to be a star Scott on these opening laps.
I think he quite likes circuit racing now compared to rallycross. He's going to lose 4th place though to the very fast charging one of the Clios in the mix. So I think that was possibly Robert Buckland, I think, that's just got past him. And as for the RX8, well, that's wasting no time to car through the field. It's cleared about 4 or 5 cars already, and you'll hear the fantastic rotary whine. Oh, somebody's lost their bonnet, for goodness sake. Someone lost the bonnet, just going into certain sorts of bonnet, just flying up in the air. I don't know if it's landed on the circuit or not, and whether the marshals, if someone's nearby, possibly can go and grab it. But even so, Nathan Heathcote, after his great start, has dropped back another place. He's lost out now to number 50, and that is of Baldwin in the Clio. But as they come across the line, it was Durant in the Subaru who leads the way. Hunter in 2nd place, Gwinnett in 3rd, Buckland, Heathcote, Baldwin, Cassar, White and Gallagher. Someone has had to come into pit now. I suspect it's the car that's lost the bonnet.
I think that might be Sam Watley's Peugeot 206.
Right, so he's coming to the pit lane, stands the bit which he should have covering the engine. So up towards Surtees goes the leaders for the second time, and it is still Durant that leads, but you can see Tony Hunter in the white number 1, the Imene Clio, all over the back of him, diving up the inside into McLaren corner. Durant leaves the door open and says, after you, Tony, and also after you, Nick, as well, and after you, everyone else, because he's back to 6th or 7th. I suspect possibly, jokes aside, that might be a problem for the Subaru because he's lost all sorts of power and pace, and yeah, it's even smoking a little bit. He's got his indicator on. There possibly might be some smoke under the back of that car, and I think unfortunately that is the end of the days for the Subarus this afternoon. One ended the race. He's really pulled off just almost on the racing line. He should have really put it more on the grass, but even so, it's a slightly dangerous position to leave it there. He's got one wheel still on the circuit, which is quite dangerous, but even so, said, is that going to prompt a safety car? Possibly, I wonder, because that's in quite a dubious position to be left in. Even so, the leaders are still up at Graham Hill Bend. Hunter from Gwinnett and then from Baldwin, so it's a Clio 1, 2, 3. Heathcote still 4th, remember, from Cassar in 5th, then Christian White in 6th. A big sideways moment for 24. That was the number 24 car of Bennett, who's gone back. No, Bennett, who's in 8th position. Now Durant's got the car going again. Whether the car was overheating or something was a problem, I'm not 100%. If he's going to try and find a safer place to put it off, I'm not sure. But he's continuing round, but he's obviously at the back of the field. The leaders come back around to put a lap on him right now through Paddock Hill Bend. So Hunter now ahead of Gwinnett from Buckland in 3rd place, then Heathcote 4th, Cassar 5th, Baldwin up there in 6th position, or 7th position, sorry, behind the Christian White MR2. And where is the...
There's a car
Subaru
pulled off on the run up towards Druids.
That has to be the Subaru,
yes,
then.
It is, yeah, so it's died again, hasn't it?
Yeah, and that's right on the inside line up at Druids. It's slightly off the rest. He's out of the car this time. hopefully it's on the grass and possibly shouldn't cause too much trouble anymore. The leaders then continue up towards the left-hander at 30. It's now a real proper Clio. It's like an old school Clio Cup battle, this, isn't it? With 3 cars at the front, it is now properly Hunter, Gwinnett and Buckland all together. Buckland closing in on the top 2, but this is an evergreen battle between these two, isn't it? Tony Hunter and Nick Gwinnett. Whenever each two of them are on the circuit together in their Clios, they're usually one can hardly be found without the other. They are really giving it some as they battle through. Meanwhile, just a quick update on what's happened with Clive Hainsford in the ever-powerful RX8. He is up now to 12th place and carving his way towards the bottom of the top 10. He's got the number 78 of Sonny Hardy and also Ash Bruneau in the recovering Renault Clio. He's done very well. He's up to 10th place from the back of the grid also.
Gen 2 cars, the Renault Clio Cup cars at the front of the pack, so going back some 10-15 years, but like you say, Scott, it's very much reminiscent of what I think some people class to be the best era of Clio Cup action. Of course, that was pretty reminiscent of Clio Cup action too, as Tony Hunter completely wipes out all the bollards on the inside of Graham Hill Bend.
Well, all but one, but 2 of them went for a Burton there, just went completely gone. Meanwhile, just behind them, for 4th place, Nathan Heathcote, he's not giving up, is he? He's 4th place, and he's keeping Steve Cassart on the Civic at bay as they come up through Clio's and McLaren. 6th place still for Christian White, 7th place for Bennett in this Renault Clio, 8th place for Ash Bruneau now in another Clio at the back of the grid. 9th now is also Clive Hainsford, and safety car's been deployed.
Yes, so that's a shame really, because that race was just starting to build up really with those 3 Clios at the front of the pack.
And I suspect that has to be for Robbie Durant's car, because again he's parked the car just on the edge of the grass with one wheel still on the circuit on the inside, so it has to be for that, I'm sure, because I can't see anything more of us unless it's down on the back straight beyond our vision, because also because the top of the air conditioning unit sort of prevents our view of the first part of the Cooper Straight. Apart from that, it has to be for the stricken Subaru of Robbie Durant. So it's a shame that we get the safety car, but it might be a bit of a blessing for Buckland and Heathcote and Cassar, because they get to close back in and possibly try to hamper the 2 cars in front that were battling so hard for the lead. Absolutely.
Shame to see that David Clark. Oh no, that's again that dodgy, weird transpondery thing where another car. Yeah, so he's going, isn't he? Actually, he's up to 12th place. And we've got the 3 cars coming from the back. Ash Bruneau up to 8th, Clive Hainsford into 9th, and David Clark up to 12th. So great drive from the 3 of them. But up front, it's Tony Hunter that leads the way. In 2nd is Nick Gwinnett. 3rd place, it is Robert Buckland, who's come through from 7th on the grid. Nathan Heathcote there in 4th place, ahead of the Civic of Steve Cassar. In 6th place, a really good run this has been from Chris White from 11th on the grid in his MR2. Lap times as Chris put in a 57.8. He'll be pleased with that. In 7th position is Josh Bennett. In 8th is Ash Bruneau, we mentioned, coming from the back, ahead of the Mazda RX8 of Clive Hainsford. And then in 10th position is Tony Markham, who's been improving as the weekend has gone on. In 11th position it is the 78 car of Sonny Hardy. 12th is David Clark. In 13th is Bill Gallagher in his MR2, and then rounding off the top 14 we've got the Honda Coupe of Nick Moore, I think that's another former Ginetta driver we've got out there this weekend. I noticed before the safety car came out, we also lost David Baldwin's Renault Clio at a similar time to when we lost the Subaru. So a couple of our front runners disappearing early on in the race.
Whether that's an additional factor to the fact that Robbie Durant's car was parked up at top of Druids, if I can get my words out, and also as well that Baldwin's Clio possibly is parked up out of sight, as from where we can't see, which is on the Cooper Straight on the segment that literally is out of view for us. So but whether or not the 2 are connected or whether they both individually collectively caused the safety car, we'll have to wait and see. But initially it seems as though that is the Durant Subaru that has posted everyone up. I'll tell you 2 people that does benefit for this one: Ash Bruneau and Clive Hainsford, because they were coming from the back of the grid, of course. They've got up to 8th and 9th respectively. They are now in very much striking distance to carve their way up through the remaining cars to get themselves up there with the likes of Hunter, Gwinnett and Buckland for a top 3 finish. Of course, it wouldn't put it past someone like Clive Hainsford, who has been on podium here before in his RX8 in the track attack races. With the pace he's been showing, it wouldn't put it past him to possibly get himself up there in amongst the top 5 to put himself in contention for a podium place. It could happen, but if he can get through the traffic or the cars in front as quickly as possible, his first target is going to be, of course, Ash Bruneau, but I think Bruneau will go with him. So collectively, their first target is going to be, I think that's going to be Josh Bennett's Renault Clio, which seems to have a rather sort of faulty transponder, because it's sort of not registering on the times for a second, but it should pop back up into about 8th position in a moment once it's sorted itself out.
So the MSV BMW safety car passing the recovery that is ongoing up there on the run up towards the Druids hairpin. There's less than half of the race to go now, so it will be a short sprint when we get back to racing. There's another race to go after this. Remember, the Compact Cup will be heading out for their final race of the weekend, and our final race of the weekend too. It's been a great busy weekend of racing we've had here at Brands Hatch, and we've got this and one more to conclude it. And the D&G team have almost got that Subaru removed now, I think, so hopefully it won't be too much longer before we get to see some racing. Haven't mentioned the 206s much lately, so let's give those guys a mention. Class F is being led by Crispin Williamson, who has been the star driver in that category today. In second place is the Cole Powell machine, and third position in that category is one of our additional entries to the programme, which is Charlie Bingham. Fourth place is Paul Rice, who raced that 206 in Hot Hatch a couple of seasons ago before moving into this new production 206 Cup. And then fifth place in the category is Kevin Houghton, so they're having a good race amongst themselves.
It's good to see it's a relatively well supported cup to begin the season with 10 cars. I'm sure that'll only get bigger and better for the Track Attack and for the production for the 206 GTI Production Cup throughout the season. Now, I think they've just about finished the recovery in terms of the Subaru, because it looks as though it's on the low loader. It's just creeping along on the grass before it finds a free gap at the end of the train to move along. I think it's trying to move along as quickly as it can without interfering with the cars on track, which keeping to the grass is quite a smart move for the time being. It should wait until the rest of the cars go through, which should only be a couple more, then it can quickly put itself into position. Hopefully that might mean, I'm not sure if we'll get the safety car lights now, we'll get one more time around the safety car, so it will be about roughly a 3-minute sprint then, which will be about 2 or 3 laps for these guys, maybe even 4 laps depending on how quick they can get around once again. But the recovery truck with Robbie Durant's Subaru should be turning off any second now, which it does, so it's coming off the road now, so we should get, hopefully Josh, next time by we should be able to get this second race of the weekend for the Track Attack Racing Club underway again. And of course the question is going to be, can Hunter stay on, and just how much progress in that short amount of time can the likes of Clive Hainsford and Ash Bruneau make from the back of the grid as they've been charging their way through the cars behind them. Absolutely,
so plenty to expect and to look forward to in what probably will be a 3-lap dash to the checkered flag. You'd kind of expect that it's going to be a Clio that comes out on top, but it could be any three of Tony Hunter, Nick Gwinnett, or the car that's come through the field in this race, number 75, Robert Buckland. What can Nathan Heathcote do? Because we know he's quick on starts, perhaps on restarts as well. That might be an advantage for the Mazda RX8 racer this weekend. Nathan Heathcote has impressed us for sure, Scott. It'll be interesting to see if he can do one more time this weekend.
And you realise what could happen in the next few minutes, because of course, look at his 4th place. What's he also doing? He's leading the entire Nippon Challenge contingent as well. So he could be getting another victory, albeit a class victory, rather than an overall one. The lights are out on the safety car, and Tony Hunter wants to kind of get this going, as does Nathan Heathcote. He's almost into the back of the 3rd place car, Robert Buckland. So the safety car peels off. Now Tony Hunter decides, right, time to get this race underway again. They've got just under 3 minutes to go. I think we'll get at least 2 or 3 laps of racing here as they come across the line. So green flag in the air. It is now Hunter ahead of Gwinnett, ahead of Buckland. 4th place there is Heathcote being challenged by Cassar on the outside, the Honda Civic. Here he comes to the outside line. And as we look at Clive Haynes, we said watch for him. He's already up the inside of Ash Bruneau as Bennett challenges White in the MR2. Up the inside now for 8th place goes Clive Haynes. So that's one more car he's picked off. He could pick off a second up the inside if Bennett gives him the room, which I think he does. That's another place he's gained. He could get a 3rd now on the run down towards Graham Hill. But it could be 3 cars and 3 corners for Clive Hainsford. And the answer to that question is not quite. Bruneau sails round the outside of Bennett, then runs deep into the corner and runs wide, but stays ahead of Bennett. Past down the exit Graham Hill, then goes Clive Hainsford. So Hainsford's up to 6th now. And a massive spit of flame from the back of the exhaust of the Mazda RX8. Wonderful sight in the low light here this afternoon. Coming across the line now, I think we're going to get 2 more laps to go then. So Hunter from Gwinnett from Buckland. and still Heathcote holding off Kassar. This is for the victory course in the Nippon Challenge. Here comes Kassar with more horsepower on the straight, blasting past the MX5 down towards Paddock Hill Bend. They're on the penultimate lap of the race, but the pair of them, behind you, because Clive Hainsford in the Mazda RX8 is there, and he could be on course possibly to get himself a Nippon Challenge race victory, class victory, from the back of the grid.
Absolutely, that is certainly a possibility. Meanwhile, they've changed again, hasn't it? Because Nathan Heathcote dives to the inside of Steve Kassar to get that Nippon Challenge lead back. Meanwhile, in the Tricolore Trophy, we've seen a good restart from Tony Hunter. Nick Gwinnett did have a go at him on the run through Druids on the previous lap, couldn't go through, but Gwinnett still right there on the tail. And again, the two Nippon Challenge leaders are side by side. Steve Kassar up the inside of Nathan Heathcote, but as Scott's been mentioning, Clive Hainsford is getting closer and closer to them. So we might squeeze 2 more laps in, you know, the pace of the Clio's up front. So it is going to be Tony Hunter. The last lap board is not shown to the leaders. Meanwhile, the Nippon Challenge card, Clive Hainsford was third, going out of clear weight. He's challenging for the lead by the time he gets to Paddock Hill Bend. He goes up the inside of Steve Kassar. It's been a great drive from Clive Hainsford in that Mazda. He gets past the MX5. He's also passed the Civic as well by the time they got into Paddock. So let's look back at the Clios for the overall race victory. Tony Hunter leads Nick Gwinnett and Buckland there as well. I think it's going to be between Hunter and Gwinnett for the win on these last couple of laps. They might catch traffic as well right at the end.
I love the way that Clive Hainsford just stuck it up the inside, spat a load of flame in the face of Steve Kassar as he went past, and away he goes into the lead. So heading out through McLaren onto Clark Curve to start the last lap of the race. It is a Clio 123. They will dominate the Tricolore Trophy and the overall race. It's a Mazda RX8 in 4th place overall to come on to start the last lap of the race. Then into Paddock Hill Bend one more time. Still Hunter in the white number 1 from Nick Gwinnett in the number 14 red Clio, and then it's the dark blue Clio, the black Clio, which is at number 75 with Buckland in the mix as well. Hainsford pulling away from the second and third place cars now in Nippon Challenge. A great drive from Clive to get himself to the front of that particular category from back to front in one race in effectively 15 minutes, which is very impressive. Down towards Graham Hill Bend, Gwinnett closes back in now as they turn in through the left-hander onto the Cooper Straight for the last time towards Surtees. There is a lapped car in front, it's one of the 206s. How much of an effect will he have as they turn through? He tries to come off the race line best as he can. Hunter will think, move over, get out of the way, I'm trying to win this race, which he does, thankfully. He gets past, top 2 get past him as the 3rd place, and a very valiant effort. Gwinnett will have to settle for 2nd best, but on the runs to checker flag, it will be 2 from 2 in the Tricolore Trophy, and an overall race win for Tony Hunter. Across the line, Hunter wins, Gwinnett flashes the lights in 2nd, and Buckland 3rd, the top 3 covered by 1.8 seconds. And in the Nippon Challenge from the back of the grid, Clive Hainsford in the RX8 wins. It is 2nd for Steve Kassar in that category, and guess who? Nathan Heathcote 3rd in that category. In between them, Ash Bruneau also from the back of the grid for 6th place, and he's 4th in the Tricolore Trophy, of course, and also the boot as well. Clive Hainsford was top. Actually, no, sorry. I have to correct myself. I do apologise. I'm being so stupid. Hainsford actually was a multi-marks car, not a Nippon Challenge car. That sounds so incompetent. But Hainsford, he was top multi-marks car anyway. It's Steve Kassar that will win the Nippon Challenge. I do apologise for getting that wrong. Then it's Bruneau, Heathcote, then Bennett, and then Clark and Hardy rounding out the top 10 in what was a very, again, I keep using the word, an energetic and very frantic but very entertaining second track attack race. And it won't have to wait too long for them to come back out, because they'll be out in a few more weeks' time. I believe actually, I think possibly at Silverstone in a couple of weeks' time. They've only got 2 weeks to turn it around, but more track attack action. If you enjoyed that, get yourself to Silverstone in a couple of weeks' time. They'll be back out once again.